The first to hear the announcement of the birth of Christ were the shepherds. And we know that story. We know it well. An angel appeared to shepherds and told them that the Christ child had been born, the Savior had come to mankind, and they should go and offer him homage. And they ran. They abandoned their sheep and they ran. The gospel tells us they ran to the place where Jesus was born, where he lay in a manger, and they worshiped him. The shepherds were not educated men. Shepherds generally are not. They tend sheep. They're the simplest of folk. They're the simplest of people. They do their jobs, and they take whatever they can for their jobs. Whatever payment they can have, they take. But they're not well educated at all. They're not very sophisticated. They can barely speak any language. They just keep silence with the sheep all the days of their lives, and at night as well. So the first to learn of Christ's birth are the shepherds, and they run immediately to him, and they arrive that very night, and they worship him. The three kings whom we celebrate today are very different from the shepherds. These are wise men, they're called. They're astrologers. They study the skies. They're astronomers. They follow stars and comets. They keep watch in the skies. They can do calculations. They're mathematicians. They can calibrate their journey to Bethlehem. They move slowly. Not unlike the shepherds who ran to be with the Christ child, the Magi move slowly with great effort. And they study this star, and they keep their eye on the star, and the star guides them. But they arrive late. Not only do they arrive late, but they conspire with King Herod. They're politically correct. They're kings, and so they figure, well, we should visit the king while we're here. Unbeknownst to them, Herod would react with great jealousy when he heard the birth of the Messiah. And he called his chief priests and scribes and said, what is this about a Messiah being born? And they say, well, read the scriptures. The prophet Isaiah foretold, prophet Micah foretold, the prophets foretold that this baby would be born in Bethlehem. But the wise men goofed. They actually made a mistake in going to Herod. They wanted to be, as I said, politically correct. They wanted to do the right thing. They weren't concerned with just arriving at Bethlehem and worshiping the Christ child. No, they had to conspire with the powers that be. And so they alerted Herod. They alerted Herod inadvertently. They didn't intend to do harm to Christ. But in their desire to be correct, in their desire to do everything right, they did. They inadvertently alerted Herod to the birth of the Messiah, and he was filled with jealousy and rage. Then they arrive. Following the star, they arrive again at Bethlehem, and they find the Christ child together with Mary and Joseph. And they offer him curious gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And Mary has the presence of mind to accept their gifts, silly as they are. And they do him homage. They adore Christ. Latecomers, but they adore Christ. And then they're warned by an angel not to return to Herod, but to go back to their homelands via a different route. And so they leave the Christ child. As I said, they're latecomers. And so are many of us latecomers. The Christmas season has arrived. Our Savior has been born to us. Christmas Day, we celebrated that birth. How many of us have yet to arrive and do him homage? How many of us, like the kings, are still waiting for that opportunity to worship Christ, to declare him to be our personal Savior, to thank him? How many of you have thanked the Lord for his coming? How many of you have asked his blessings on your family, on yourselves? How many of you have declared your unworthiness to be in his presence and asked for mercy? Yes, we're all latecomers in a certain way, much like the Magi. But Christ and his Blessed Mother open their arms, and they receive us and our silly gifts as they receive those gifts of the Magi. We're never too late to arrive in worship. We're never too late to offer him homage. It's still Christmas. It's still time.